Boakye plays another 90 minutes. What is happening, guys? It's your boy TC back with another video. So Arsenal have just qualified for the last 32 in the Europa League. It's a very bitter pill to swallow, even though it's good progress in the competition. This is obviously a competition that I'm not used to be taking part in. I'm not used to seeing Arsenal play on Thursday nights, and potentially in the near future we will be playing on Friday nights, which is absolutely devastating. But we'll take it as it is. We are doing well, so we're unbeaten in 4 games within the group itself. I think Cologne beat Borisov 4-2 in the end, so that was their result. Obviously a draw was then enough for us to actually progress through to the last 32. So Wenger obviously continued the theme in terms of the team he has been picking in the actual competition itself. In goal we saw Matt Macy's starting in the absence of Ospina, who's currently injured. The back three was Boakye, Elneny and Rob Holding. The wing backs, we saw Reece Nelson starting, as well as Maitland-Niles, who had an absolutely blinding game, but we will be talking about individual players a bit later on in the video itself. In the middle, we saw Chris Willock get an actual start today, as well as Coquelin, who was absolutely atrocious in my opinion. I saw one fan tweeting that he looked like a fan who'd actually won a competition to take part in the game, and it was devastating today. And we saw Jack Wilshere playing a bit further forward today, and he was up front just behind Giroud, as well as Theo Walcott again, who had a fairly poor game, I should say. But the most important thing, as mentioned at the start of the video, is that we have qualified for the last 32. So talking about individual performances, I will start at the back. I'd say Matt Macy today was a bit more composed. It seemed much more at home. He was comfortable, and he pulled off one fantastic save, and that was, I think, late on in the first half. He literally just tipped it onto the bar, and of course it prevented a goal going in for Red Star, who absolutely, I think, actually had a good game at the Emirates today. We are obviously unbeaten in 14 games at home in all competitions, so that's obviously something to be proud of and something to take away from today's game as well. So in terms of Macy, again, solid performance, and he did absolutely well in my opinion. I'd like to see a bit more of him. He's got the height. He looks like an actual goalkeeper. I think he just needs that little bit of more of experience, and then I think we will definitely have a finished article in our hands, but time will obviously tell us. Moving forward in terms of the defence, again, Boakye, I'm going to call him the zombie. He's basically come back from the dead. Unbelievable. Obviously he's only made 3 appearances so far this season, but he has been impressive. He's lasted the whole 90 minutes. And today, I can say that it didn't have a performance that someone can write home about. It wasn't a very impressive performance. But what I'm actually impressed with is the fact that he's been out for such a long time and he's actually re-emerging and actually contributing to the team. Hopefully he will continue to contribute, and he seems to have actually settled well on that right side of that back three that Wenger is actually preferring. So moving forward, talking about Elneny. So Elneny had a mixed game in my opinion. There's usual complaints about Elneny. He finds himself way too forward in my opinion. It's continuous that there were moments that we looked like we were exposed. That was because, again, he'd bombed forward. He sort of gets confused, I think, or that is the midfielder in him that naturally wants to push forward when he gets the opportunity to. But if you're playing in a central defensive role, you should be a bit more disciplined, in my opinion. But again, the good thing is we did not concede a goal. When Macy actually tipped that goal onto the crossbar, you could see Elneny looking at the ball. He was basically ball watching. He wasn't reacting in real time, and he kind of switched off, if you like. And instantly, as it came off the crossbar, obviously he came back to life, and he obviously managed to clear the ball away. But again, a mixed performance. Again, Rob Holding as well. It wasn't another great performance from him, but I'm guessing he's still finding his feet this season. He hasn't shown us the performances that he put in last season, so hopefully at some point when we do really need him to actually turn up, he will certainly turn up. But again, it was a decent performance from Rob Holding himself. He picked up a yellow card, I think, late on into the second half, but it didn't really matter at that point. In midfield, obviously we saw Chris Willock. He ended up getting taken off. I think that was late on in the second half, roughly about 67 minutes or so. He was taken off for Eddie Nketiah, and he had a good performance in my opinion. A little bit of naivety was obviously showing there. At times he was losing the ball, or he was being caught out, being out of position. But again, not a bad performance from the young lad. He did put in a good shift. Coquelin, we know that he has been injured. We know that he hasn't had that much game time. I think this is his second or third game back from injury, but he didn't put in a good performance at all today. I know Wenger obviously wants to get him those minutes under his belt this season, but I do not believe that we will have that Coquelin from back 2 to 3 seasons ago, when he actually burst back onto the scene at Arsenal, into the first team, and he was putting in absolutely amazing performances. But today it was atrocious. Towards the end, I think he took a shot, and that summed it up for me. The shot literally just bounced off the ground and it was off, and literally just went out for a goal kick. So in my opinion, he didn't have a great performance, but he can be excused due to the fact that he has only just returned from injury, and obviously he's trying to get the minutes under his belt. Just to quickly discuss the two young wing backs, so Maitland-Niles, fantastic performance, great performance from him. It was very creative, threatening at times, putting in good crosses at times as well. Passing was also decent, and at times you could see the naivety and the age as well showed. But overall, he did have a good performance as well. Same applies for Reiss Nelson. He did have a good performance. He was running and charging down that right-hand side. There was a time, I think it was late on into the second half, or at some point during the second half, I should say, he was literally just running at the defence. You could see the crowd getting excited, people standing up. Again, he actually had a good performance overall, so would like to see more of him and more of these performances. But his sort of stardust is sort of fizzling out, in my own personal opinion. There was a lot of hype surrounding Reiss Nelson at the start of the season. Obviously, he's still young, he's learning. So again, I'd like to see a bit more of him, and a bit more improvement in terms of the performances that he's putting out as it is. Moving forward, the front three. So Giroud had a mixed performance in my opinion. Had a good chance at one point, and he just blazed it with his left foot, and it went curling off, and it was a good chance. But again, it was a mixed performance. It wasn't great. At times he seemed a bit isolated up front by himself, where everyone else was finding themselves further back. But again, it was a very mixed performance. Jack Wilshere was fantastic again in the Europa League. I don't know why Wenger is not playing him in the Premier League, but again, he looked good. There was a moment towards the end of the game that I was fearing the worst. He was tackled from behind, and it looked like he wasn't going to get up for a little while, but he obviously got up, and he sort of shook off that particular little injury that he kind of picked up during the game. But again, another brilliant performance from Jack Wilshere. And basically, Theo Walcott, I don't really know what to say about Theo Walcott, to be honest. At times he showed flashes of glimpses, I should say, of brilliance, but again it always fizzles out. One particular moment that stood out to me, he had a few chances, of course, that he did not tuck away, but one particular moment that stood out to me was towards the end. He was running with the ball, sort of trying to get it out of the defence phase, and literally went to pass the ball back into the middle of the park, and he just gave it away, and Red Star were off on another counter-attack that did actually cause us a few problems during the game. They were countering us quite often during the game as well, Red Star were. They did put in a decent performance. I assumed that we'd obviously won this game. The young striker up front, the Ghanaian international, he put in a good performance as well. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to tuck away his chances, but all in all, they did give us a very, very good game. So, as usual, guys, please do let me know what you think in the comments below. We obviously have a massive game coming up at the weekend, and this is going to be interesting. The next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting, so we will wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. But a preview for the massive game will be coming up soon. And as usual, guys, please do leave your comments below. And if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please do make sure that you do hit the subscribe button. Once again, guys, it's your boy TC from I'm Gonna Talk TV, and I'm out.